Wildlife shooting techniques. Now, one of the things you're going to want to know when you are hunting wildlife is that you've got to be out there when the animals are out there. Most of your big game are going to be out in dusk and dawn. A lot of small things like squirrels will be out in the middle of the day. Rabbits, they're only going to be out at the very early or very late time of the day. So all of your settings are going to be dependent on what time of the day you're shooting. Middle of the day, about the only chance you have of getting some good pictures of critters if you're just not driving around, which is crazy with a camera because the setup is so tough, is if you get on water. Almost all animals will have to come down to water sometime during the day. So I like to set up at a site where you're looking at a pond or a feeding zone. Especially if you see a lot of sign, a lot of tracks coming down, I like to set up there and be ready and then just wait and see what happens during the day. At night I might move to a different spot, but no matter what, the animals in the Arizona desert always need to go to water, and if you're on water you will see animals. When you're shooting wildlife out in the wild, you're going to have to make sure that you're not seen. As you can see, I'm wearing camouflage, but that doesn't do you a bit of good if the sun's glinting off of your tripod and your camera. So what I always do is I always bring a sheet of this camouflage and I cover my whole camera, and the only thing I do is I poke the lens out through one of the holes in the camouflage so that the lens can see and be clear. And also you got to remember that all of your meters need to be able to see too. But now the animals can't see this. And if you have an opening here for your eye, an opening here for your lens, and then pull it back off your mic a little bit so no rustling of the wind or anything can make any noise, then you'll be in good shape. If you're going to be moving, you're going to want to carry a good monopod. A monopod that you can set your camera on, that you can open and close easily. And that way you don't have to carry a tripod or anything else. You're going to be a little more dependent on your own abilities to stay still. But a monopod is a great tool for out in the wild, and it packs up easy and you can throw it on your backpack real simply. Another thing too is if you're moving, you're going to want to make sure you use camouflage over your face. And it doesn't take a whole lot, just something to break it up. Like this here setup here, I carry when I'm hunting or when I'm shooting, and it covers all over my face so that the animals don't see me and I'm broken up well. Another tool I found really helpful, especially if I'm hunting in a tree stand, is this arm that comes out that you can mount your camera on here. It's made for cameras, it's made for binoculars or whatnot, but I use it a lot for my camera. It won't hold a super heavy camera like an XL2, but it'll hold an XH real well, or any of your smaller cameras. I usually use this as an over-the-shoulder stand when I'm sitting in a tree stand and I want to have another camera watching all my action too, the back of my head and my bow and arrow usually. You can also leave it in a tree for cameras that are operated by motion, and so it's a real handy rig to have. I've got some good pictures off these kind of stands. Now my favorite thing to have is the blind. The blind you can set a chair in, and I'll show you a little bit about that. Now if I really want to spend the day filming wildlife, what I'll do is I'll set up in a blind. I'll set my camera inside the blind, and the nice thing about the blind is you can put a chair in here, a cooler, you can have lunch and some drinks and spend the day filming. You can even take a nap in one of these things and you won't be alarming animals. A lot of times you might wake up to find an animal inside your camera range and you almost missed it. So a blind is a really nice way to do animal photography. So the big thing to remember is that when you're filming wildlife, you got to have patience. You got to have patience, you got to get in a good spot, you got to get over water, you got to be someplace where the animals are going to come to. You want good equipment. You want a good monopod if you're going to be moving, a tripod if you're not going to be moving. An XL2 is an excellent camera to set up on a tripod and film with. It's very well built, it's sturdy, and it's good equipment to take out in the woods with you. An over-the-shoulder mount is really nice for your camera, and a blind is really important. I wouldn't hunt wildlife without a blind. That's just the way to do it. And so keep these things in mind. Check your settings constantly as the light changes. Clouds come in, you might end up in a shadow. Check your light settings. Just be real sure of what you're seeing through your camera, because when that one shot comes, you want to make sure you get it and get it clear.